I never thought a can of spray paint would almost get me killed. Call me a vandal, call me an artist, I honestly don't care. I've been painting abandoned places since I was 16. I stay away from busy streets and bridges because that's where everyone else goes. My favorite spots are forgotten railroad yards where old freight trains are left to rust for years. No cameras. No crowds. Just silence. Or at least, that's what I believed. My best friend Ethan usually came with me. He didn't paint much, but he liked exploring abandoned places, and I hated going alone. That Friday night we found an old rail yard nearly 20 miles outside our town. Google Maps barely showed it, and satellite images looked years out of date. It was perfect. We parked beside an abandoned grain elevator around 10:30 p.m. and walked the rest of the way with flashlights turned off. The trains looked ancient. Some were missing wheels. Some had trees growing through them. But one train stood out. It looked clean. Not new, just strangely untouched. No graffiti. Not a single tag. That was impossible. Every abandoned train in America gets painted eventually. Ethan laughed. Looks like somebody's been saving this one for you. I shook the spray can. This one's mine. For the next 20 minutes I painted the side of the second freight car while Ethan wandered around filming random clips for Snapchat. When I finally stepped back to admire my work, I heard a loud clang. It sounded like someone had thrown a metal pipe inside one of the train cars. I turned. Nothing. The wind had completely stopped. No insects. No birds. Just silence. Ethan walked over. You heard that too? I nodded. We stood there listening. 30 seconds passed. Then another clang. This time it came from farther down the train. Almost like someone was walking through the cars. Dragging something heavy. I whispered. Probably another explorer. Ethan wasn't convinced. Then why aren't they using a flashlight? Good question. We slowly followed the sound. One car. Then another. The metal doors were all open. Empty. 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 Until we reached the last freight car. Its door wasn't open. It was slightly cracked. Just enough to see darkness inside. The smell hit us first. Bleach. So much bleach it burned my nose. Ethan pulled out his phone. You smell that? I nodded. Then. A voice came from inside. Not loud. Barely above a whisper. Help. We froze. It sounded like an old man. Weak. Almost crying. Ethan immediately stepped toward the door. We have to check. Something felt wrong. Very wrong. I grabbed his backpack. Wait. The voice came again. Please. Then. Nothing. No movement. No breathing. Just silence. Ethan slowly slid the door open. The flashlight beam revealed. Nothing. The freight car was completely empty. Except one wooden chair. Bolted to the floor. Facing the wall. There were thick chains wrapped around its legs. Fresh chains. Not rusty. Fresh. Beside the chair sat a plastic bucket. Half full of cloudy liquid. The bleach smell was overwhelming. What the hell? Ethan whispered. Then. The chair moved. Not much. Just enough to scrape across the metal floor. Neither of us touched it. The scraping echoed through the entire train. I felt every hair on my arm stand up. Ethan slowly backed away. We're leaving. Before either of us could move. A loud metallic slam exploded behind us. The freight car door had shut by itself. Complete darkness. My flashlight flickered. Then died. Ethan's phone flashlight was the only light left. That's when we heard footsteps. Not outside. Inside the car. Walking toward us. Slow. Heavy. One step at a time. But there was nobody there. Ethan pointed the phone toward the sound. Nothing. The footsteps kept getting closer. I couldn't breathe. Then Ethan screamed. Something had grabbed the back of his hoodie. I spun around. There was nobody behind him. But his hoodie stretched backward as if invisible hands were pulling him. I grabbed him with both hands and yanked as hard as I could. The hoodie ripped. We fell backward. The doors suddenly slid open with a violent bang. We didn't wait. We ran. Neither of us looked back. Halfway across the tracks. Something metallic crashed behind us. A spray paint can rolled between our feet. It was mine. The one I'd left nearly half a mile away. Neither of us stopped to question it. We sprinted all the way back to the truck. For nearly 20 minutes, neither of us spoke. Finally Ethan unlocked his phone. He wanted to watch the video he'd been recording. The footage showed us opening the freight car. The empty chair. The chains. Everything exactly as we remembered. Until the last 5 seconds. The camera accidentally tilted upward. Someone was standing in the corner. Too dark to see clearly. Tall. Completely still. Watching us. Neither of us had noticed them. Ethan paused the video. I don't remember anyone being there. I didn't answer. Because something else caught my eye. The figure wasn't standing. Its feet were nearly 2 feet above the floor. As if it were hanging. The next morning we drove back with 2 other friends. The entire train was gone. Every track was empty. Even stranger. The ground where the train had been sitting was covered with fresh weeds. Like nothing heavy had rested there for years. We asked a nearby railroad worker if any freight trains had been stored there recently. He frowned. There hasn't been a train on those tracks in over 15 years. I thought he was joking. Then he asked something I'll never forget. Did you boys go near the old tunnel? I slowly nodded. He sighed. My dad worked those rails. He pointed toward the trees. They found 3 missing people in a freight car back in 2009. They never figured out who put them there. Before leaving, he added one final sentence. If you ever hear someone asking for help from inside an abandoned train, keep walking. I haven't touched a spray can since that night. But sometimes, around 2 or 3 in the morning, I get notifications that Ethan shared a new memory from years ago. It's always the same video. The strange part? Ethan deleted that recording the night we escaped. And every time I open the notification, the video is already gone.